Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really monumental shift that's happening right beneath our feet. We're going to explore how the totally uncontrollable, accelerating waves of modern technology aren't just handing us new gadgets, they're actually fundamentally transforming the entire nature of human conflict. You see, power without wisdom creates vulnerability. And to really understand where we're heading, we have to look at how the very foundations of war and peace are being completely rewritten by tech.
Consider this profound bit of wisdom from the ancient military philosopher Sima Rongju. History constantly shows us that while great empires fell because they were completely obsessed with physical conflict, modern states face a distinctly new kind of vulnerability. Today, our biggest threat isn't just the human desire for war, it's the overwhelming, blinding speed of technological evolution. We live in a world where technology is championed even more than science itself, and honestly, that creates an entirely new landscape of risk for all of us.
Looking back, it was pretty easy to neatly categorize the past. The 18th century was the age of the steam engine. The 19th century gave us electricity. Historical eras used to be defined by just a single invention, or one solitary genius like Watt or Edison. But look at our modern digital age. We are constantly battered by endless, rapid-fire waves of technology. No single discovery can define our current era anymore, because the very second one appears, we're immediately hit by a bigger, newer wave.
Which brings us to our first major concept, the illusion of control.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this super vivid metaphor the source material uses. It describes technology as a pair of magic shoes on the feet of mankind. The spring in these shoes is wound incredibly tight by commercial interests. And once we put them on, we basically just have to dance along, whirling faster and faster to a beat we didn't even set. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is a massive warning. Technology has to remain a tool. Because if we lose sight of that, we risk becoming the servant, just dancing endlessly in these magic shoes with zero control. So we're faced with this really stark duality. On one hand, you've got this incredible, optimistic hope. Information technology acts like a magic charm, giving us progress, global connectivity, and shared knowledge to lift us up. But on the other hand, there's this deeply pessimistic fear that we're basically opening Pandora's box. If technology just develops totally unchecked, it leads to extreme, unmanageable complexity, and mankind just becomes a victim of its own uncontrollable dependence. But despite that fear, neither side is slowing down our thirst for progress. And that naturally leads us into our next section, the ramification effect. Let's trace how this effect actually works. Say humanity wants a more convenient way to get around. So we invent the automobile. Simple enough, right? Well, that single solution instantly birthed a giant tree of massive derivative problems. Suddenly, we needed huge mining and oil extraction operations. We needed endless road-building infrastructure. And ultimately, it created pollution, resource depletion, and deadly traffic accidents. When you compare that simple original goal of just wanting to travel faster to the massive global challenges it created, you really see how the irrational expansion of technology can make us lose our way. All right, now we're shifting our focus to arguably the most important revolution in the history of human tech, the digital bonding agent. Let's be really clear about what information technology actually is. Its revolutionary significance isn't just that it's a cool new tool. It's actually a vital bonding agent. It seamlessly penetrates the barriers between entirely separate scientific disciplines, fusing technologies that seem totally unrelated into something entirely new. It is literally the glue holding our entire modern world together. Think about it. The independent use of a single technology is almost unimaginable now. You can't just have computing sitting on its own anymore. It's completely merging with biotechnology, materials science, nanotechnology, and of course, AI. The era of the loud, solo instrument is totally over. The future absolutely belongs to integrated systems and a massive, multi-part technological chorus, all being driven forward by globalization.
So how does this transform the battlefield? Let's look at how integrated warfare emerges.
Just look at the evolution of military dominance. Under the old model, a single devastatingly powerful weapon, like a heavily armored tank or a new fighter jet, could trigger a military revolution and just totally dominate the battlefield. But under the new model, no single weapon defines modern conflict anymore. Today, dominance is achieved almost entirely through connected systems and deep technological integration. The face of war has completely changed. Okay, let's dive into this. Consider the absolutely staggering figure of 500. During the Gulf War, more than 500 kinds of brand new, highly advanced technologies ascended the stage. It literally turned the conflict into a live-action demonstration site for synchronized weaponry. But the really profound impact wasn't any single piece of tech. It was how all 500 of them worked together as one massive organism. We saw this integration perfectly in action with the Patriot missile intercepting Scuds. Now, it wasn't the Patriot alone that created the advantage. It was the system. In mere milliseconds, a satellite detects a target high up in the atmosphere. An alarm is instantly beamed to ground stations in Australia and Cheyenne Mountain over in the US. Then, Central Command in Riyadh coordinates the data. And finally, the Patriot operators engage the target. All of this happening in a mind-blowing 90-second cycle. That unprecedented, real-time global coordination, that is the true face of modern warfare.
Because of this massive, rapid integration, we have fully arrived at the dawn of unrestricted warfare.
This total fusion of tech blurs the lines so much that it raises some massive questions. For instance, is a single cyber hacker attack a hostile act of war? If we try to use our traditional historical definitions of conflict, we literally don't have an answer to this anymore. Our old frameworks are completely failing us in the digital age.
Or what about this? Can using financial instruments to deliberately crush a country's economy be seen as an actual battle? In the past, economics were purely non-military tools. But today, because absolutely everything is networked and integrated, economics and finance can be actively weaponized with devastating surgical precision.
And consider this one. Can a simple news broadcast alter the entire world's strategic situation? The source material specifically points to the CNN broadcast of the incident in Mogadishu, asking if that information alone shook America's strategic determination. And it did. It proves that information itself can change strategic outcomes. The old boundaries haven't just weakened, they've totally collapsed. The absolute crucial point here is that all these historically non-war actions are the very factors constituting future conflict, and we have to give it a name. Unrestricted warfare is a new paradigm of warfare that totally transcends all traditional boundaries and limits. It's this inescapable future where conflict uses literally every available method, completely unconstrained by the rules of the past.
So what does this look like? Well, these are the chilling characteristics of our future. All means will be in readiness. Information will be omnipresent. The battlefield is literally everywhere. It's in your bank, in computer networks, on television screens. Technologies are seamlessly superimposed on top of one another. And most importantly, the definitive line between military and civilian, between war and peace, is just totally destroyed. The rulebook of war doesn't just need an update, it needs to be entirely rewritten.
Which leaves us with this incredibly stark final thought from the source. The greatest change in warfare is not a new weapon. It is the disappearance of the limits that once defined war. We really have to carefully feel the pulse of this new reality to understand what happens tomorrow. With a limitless battlefield stretching across technology, finance, and information, how is humanity going to navigate a world where literally everything can be a weapon? Thank you so much for watching this explainer, and remember, keep questioning the world around you.